millions of talking heads, the exclusive enjoyment of emasculated egalitarians on Everest is Talks-A-Lot Entertainment. This is news.
Hello and welcome to Not Entertainment Worthy Stuff, where we cover all the weird and crazy shit that I come across during the week. Before we get into things, our first guest joining us today is here. It is Sean from Escaping the Matrix and Omega Star Productions. How you doing, bro?
Hey there, man. How's it going?
Good. Hell yeah. So couple announcements before we get into anything. I totally nuked my Twitter account for everyone watching. So if you need to get a hold of me, you'll have to go and join the Talks-A-Lot Town Square Gilded. The link is the pinned message in the YouTube side. I should probably drop that link on the Rumble side of things as well, since we are doing a dual stream for Rumble and YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. But I had another announcement that my brain is breaking on now. Oh, well.
Monday mornings.
Yeah, it's Monday. It's definitely Monday. I'll go ahead and drop that. Ooh, there's the Gilded link for the Rumble people. We do have some fun news stories today. Crazy shit going on. Yeah, this is Cory's Corner, the one about a U-Haul, a meteor, and all the bread. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Check this out. Maryland police find kidnapped woman in U-Haul after a wild chase ending in ditch. The reason this one is so crazy is because this guy could have gotten away with it if he hadn't been driving like a dipshit. And that's the scary part. So, Maryland police discovered a kidnapped woman naked in a U-Haul truck after the man driving the vehicle led them on a wild chase that ended with him crashing in a ditch. The suspect was 62 years old and was arrested by Maryland State Police. Woof. So just to cover the basic points on this one, I won't read the whole article because it gets into just, all the details and whatnot. But basically what it is the guy forced his way into this lady's U-Haul at, gunpoint, threateningly. And then he made her strip naked, tied her up, and then decided he was going to go do other stuff. But he sideswiped roughly 12 cars. And then when the cops started coming after him, he panicked and ran into a ditch. What are your thoughts on this crazy shit?
Sounds like Maryland is the place to be, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. It is insane.
I don't know, dude. It's like almost every other day there's a story like this somewhere in the world. Do you know if he was on something? Surely he must have been on some type of substance.
You would think so.
If not, then maybe he was just having a late midlife crisis.
His charges are down here. He picked up just involving the U-Haul truck and the kidnapping is 14 charges. But this guy's also picking up 19 additional traffic charges. He did have crack cocaine, so I'm assuming he was high as fuck. So driving while impaired, there it is. Yeah, so he was probably cracked out of his mind and just like...
Well, that's crack cocaine for you. It makes you aggressive. It makes you...
psychotic.
Pretty much, yeah. And at 62 years old...
Right?
I'm sure he's going to handle that well.
Right. Absolutely. Real quick, because I'm an airhead, let's say hi to the chat. Over on the YouTube side, we've got Tolbat. Hail, sir. Says, what kind of curiosities do you have in store for us today, O King of Weirdness Kingdom? Well, this is just the beginning. Because we're going to actually burn through the title topics pretty quick and then get to the stuff that's really interesting. And then just scroll. Hail Shawnee Step, my longtime loyal viewer and hat provider. If you missed it, go check out the hat parade. on the latest mental dysentery. I will be releasing that as a short because everybody seemed to like it. So just keep an eye out for that. And of course, hail to Nate D. Glad you could be here, Nate.
Hey there, guys.
Fun stuff today. He was in Upper Marlboro Department of Corrections. Wow.
Oh, well.
Marlboro. There you go. He's a smoker.
Yeah.
The next one has to do with something that you don't hear about very often, but so Tolbat says got pulled away for work. Have to have you on pause. Sorry, can't watch live. That's totally fine, sir. We're happy to have you here for whatever little time we can, or even on long-term basis. So hail Ruben Christopher Haynes. He just joined the Gilded. Welcome to the town square, sir. Just keep in mind the 3 simple rules of don't be a dick, put stuff where it goes, and I don't remember what the third one is, but it probably has something to do with the fact that to not be a dick. I don't know. Anyway, so a warm object. Hail Ryan Roger Athay. Hope all is well. All is great. I nuked my Twitter, Ryan. So if you want to join the show at any point, you have to join the Toxalot Town Square Gilded if you're not already. And the link is in the Toxalot Entertainment section for you to join. Because that's what I'm doing now is I'm posting the join link publicly in the server. So anyone who wants to join can. That being said, I want this piece of shit to go away because let's just mull this over for a second. Warm object that crashed into New Jersey bedroom was a 4.5 billion year old meteorite in excellent condition. You can tell I'm used to talking about billionaires when the word billion comes up because billion-year-old, that just throws me for a loop. But nobody cares about the Turkey election runoff. Like everything else, Dominion. Just saying. So a 2.2 stony chondrite meteorite crashed through this man's house in New Jersey. And of course, they say it's in excellent condition, which I would expect it to be. This is the chunk that crashed into. Yeah, let's go over here. You motherfucker. Stop doing that. Oh my gosh. Well, let me see it. You guys are dirty bastards. I don't want to zoom that one out. Goodness gracious. But yeah, there's the meteorite. For those of you not familiar with certain things, meteorites typically go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And since this crashed into this guy's house and it's been authenticated, he owns it.
That's what that was going to be my question. That guy's now rich, isn't he?
He should be, as long as he wasn't stupid enough to sign it over to a science research facility. Because some people are stupid and they do that. They're like, oh, a meteorite. I'm going to donate this to a museum. I'm like, fuck you. There's 2 Colt 1911s that are made out of meteorite rocks. Okay. Coolest fucking guns I've ever seen in my life. And they're worth $4.5 million a piece. All right. Don't get rid of your meteorites that hit your house. Use it to fix your house. Use it to buy a new house. I mean, come on.
Use it to buy 2 new houses. Why not?
Yeah, and it's 2 pounds of meteorite. All right, so 2.2 pounds. So that's basically a kilo. That's a decent chunk of meteorite, and the rare metals in it alone would probably worth a shitload of money. Well, apparently the meteorite will be named based on the nearest postal address. So it will likely be known as Titusville, New Jersey meteorite.
Ooh, Titusville. That sounds kind of sci-fi, doesn't it?
A little bit. Unfortunately, when I hear the word Titus or the name Titus, I think of Christopher Titus from the Titus Show and stand-up comedy. It's great. Hail Boosh McFadden. If you guys love food, join the Toxalot Town Square Gilded. He puts it up there all the time and makes me drool like crazy. All right, so there's the meteor. What would you do if a meteor crashed into your bedroom?
Well, if I survived the experience, I I would have to sell it. I'd be very tempted to break a piece off and keep it and just kind of lie, like, oh,
Me too.
yeah, for sure. I would definitely have to do that. But if it was even just a little bit bigger than that, it could have done some serious damage too. So, but if it was that size and there's no serious damage, no one was hurt, absolutely, yeah, I would sell it. I would put the money to good use. Probably
Hell yeah.
fund something.
Hell yeah, I feel
How about
that.
you though?
What would I do? I'd sell the shit out of it. Honestly, like that would be fantastic because 2.2 pounds is more than enough to have them manufacture something for you out of it. The problem being you have to have the money to afford to have them manufacture meteorite materials. That being said, I would sell it, just take the money and move to Florida.
There you
if I
go.
could.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow, I'm just getting all the notifications all at once. Like, man, joining the Gilded. Apparently, we're live on Rumble right now, so that's awesome. I'm glad that that's actually working. So our third title story. Oh, Sean Eastap's asking the real questions here.
Yeah,
Who
who
got
got
superpowers? Unfortunately, the mutations in real life only give you cancer and not superpowers. So obviously, it wasn't radioactive, which kind of is a good thing. I wonder what kind of munitions you could make out of radioactive meteorite materials. Anyway,
question?
this one is a stupid criminal article. Uptown man bungled a Subway restaurant robbery by asking for all the bread. Now, why is this a problem for robbing a place? Because the shop, the person that was working at the time, so I got to find it. Being a sandwich shop employee, the person asked what kind of bread the person wants. Like, give me all the bread. You're robbing a Subway restaurant and you tell them you want all the bread. They're like, do you want Asiago bread or white bread? That's literally how that went. He asked him what kind of bread he wanted. And the guy kind of got a little upset, but he left, and then but this man had robbed several sandwich shops in the area. All right, sandwich shops, wearing the exact same clothes. I thought this was funny just because of the sandwich store and the all the bread thing. Now that we've burned through our title topics, we're going to talk about something that the headline hits as hilarious. The realization behind it, not so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a little bit of maybe some anger will crop up. Maybe you'll be disgusted like I was, but we all might laugh at this. Hail Po Baby 74. Been a while, bro. He says the carbs robber. Indeed. There was also another story that I was going to cover until I got a couple of other better stories about a man that went berserk inside of a McDonald's and started like hamburglaring the shit. Like literally going back, his order was wrong. So he went back there and he just started stealing sandwiches. It's like, this is all mine. It's like, anyway. So the next one, I'll read the headline and then we'll let it sink in. Okay. Trans woman or a man cleared of flashing her or his penis at 3 women using Ohio YMCA after judge ruled she's too fat for her genitals to be visible. So I've always wondered what it's like to see a person who's so fat that their dick's not visible. This made me laugh my ass off when I originally read it. All right. YMCA trans woman cleared of flashing her penis because she's too fat to see it. That's a hilarious headline. And now we let the reality sink in of the fact that this person flashed his dick at a bunch of ladies at a YMCA, and the judge is letting him off because he's too fat. I will not call this person a she. That's an insult to all women everywhere.
You won't catch me doing it, but I gotta say, how does the judge know?
Right? Right? Did he get a
What's he been
private
doing?
viewing? Did he get a private viewing?
Mm,
Darren is his name, not that. Anyway, this is where it gets fucking disturbing. 3 juveniles were present during the incident.
mm.
Yep. See, Bush, not just ladies, Cory, little girls. That's why mothers wanted to sue. And that's the fucking problem we have in today's world. All right. Trans people, as long as they're overweight, can get away with sex crimes against children and young people because they're mentally disturbed and for absolutely no other fucking reason. And I've got another great thing for you. They have a fucking picture. All
Oof.
right. Look at the amount of fugly that exists in this fucking picture. All right. The only reason this person could possibly pass as a woman is because they're so fat, their fucking moves look like mammary glands. All right. Like, we live in such a fucked up world that these people are going to get off exposing themselves to little kids. And no one is surprised that it's in fucking Ohio.
Yeah, putting the O back in the Ohio.
Yeah.
We used to call those man tits, by the way, dude. I'm still gonna call him man tits because he's a man. I don't care what people say. The fact, I mean, what kind of the excuse? Because he's too fat to show his penis. How about the fact he just has a penis, which proves that he's of the male gender. I mean, even if he didn't, like I said, you have to go to a genetic level.
And here's
and
my
it's just
thing.
impossible.
Just on the basic level of operating with all this shit,
Mm.
you are not trans unless you are actually in the process of transitioning. Some people will call me a bigot for that, but guess what? Transitioning is the trans part of being transgender. So if
It's
you're
the very
not
definition of the word, period.
literally, it's not, oh my gosh, I feel like a fucking unicorn today. I'm so excited. I gotta be whatever I want. No, you fucking delusional crackheads. It's not how it fucking works. Just because you feel like it doesn't mean it's so. I feel like a rich man. Do I have billions of dollars? Fuck no. Anyway, gosh. Bush McFadden says, how do you plead, Darren? Chupa honona patina solo. Yeah, I know that wasn't exactly right, but yeah, that's some fucking Jabba the Hutt shit. And Shawnee said, Gorlock the Destroyer, come to you. I will eat your children.
Do you remember that creature in the first Blade movie, that weird vampire that just was?
Oh my god!
And it took the UV light to him.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe one of the lawyers should do that.
This motherfucker even looks like that.
It does. Just remove the hair and you just, yep.
Legit. Holy shit, yo. Like, Darren.
He's even sitting in the chair almost the exact same way.
Exact same position and everything. Like, fuck. Hey, there's the judge.
The judge, yeah.
He looks like a winner, doesn't he?
Look at that creepy smile he's got going on there. Yeah. He's a winner of something.
Those eyes say the Democrats bought my soul 20 years ago.
Oh, man.
Fucking, this man should be disbarred.
Oh, it's the criminal justice system for you, dude. This is how it functions.
Yeah, all the criminals, no justice. Fucking dipshits.
It's a mockery of justice. It's a farce.
It's a mockery of justice. It's a mockery of women, and it's a complete disgusting fucking thing that they're letting happen out in this world right now. It pisses me off. And usually I don't get pissed, like actually pissed off at internet stuff, but this does the job.
Yep.
Hey, you're not wrong, Bush.
Sorry, dude. Right. I just want to say this real quick. As much as I don't like speculation, and we've heard it all before, but I bet you if he didn't claim to be trans and he was just a fat guy that flashed his penis, this would be a very, very different story. I promise you.
It absolutely would. And Bush brings up a very good point that the judge probably also looks at little girls and wishes and I'll expand on that and say he wishes
probably
he could
little
show
boys
his penis.
as well.
Yeah, probably. You know, the criminal justice system is populated with nothing but corrupt, disgusting fucksticks. So I'm just,
Yeah, I mean, there's you only have to pay attention to the news even badly these days to find judges, mayors, politicians that are getting done for pedophilia. Although nothing really gets done about it. They get a slap on the hand because they're trying to normalize pedophilia these days. I mean, put two and two together there.
right? Poe Baby says no one could find that guy's junk. Yeah. I feel sorry for whatever correctional facility has to do a cavity search after this thing is arrested for actual sexual assault, or the no word on YouTube, rape. Because that's what it is. Let's call it what it is. That person is
No,
a
it is.
future rapist. Sean Estep says, someone hurry up and invent smell-o-vision so all the pervs can stay in their layers. Indeed. Woof. I second that motion.
Was my reaction exactly.
Yeah.
Surprised
Yeah,
my
right.
computer didn't crash there when it came up on screen.
Right. And this man is a fucking disgrace.
Mm. Yep.
Judge David McNamee. His name is McNamee.
It is.
Wow.
I can name him. I can give him a few names.
Said that there was no question he was in the locker room, but that he was not trespassing. Bush McFadden says, Judge, it's okay because no one can see into the shadowed void of that fupa mountain. Yeah, fupa meaning fatty upper penis area in this case. Fuck this man with a gigantic barbed dick. I hate these people. They're stupid. Idiots. This one is fun. All right, here's one for the conspiracy theorists out there. All right. Denmark's mystery tremors caused by acoustic waves from an unknown source, officials say. Scientists are puzzled by a series of minor tremors that were recorded in the Danish Baltic island of Bornholm on Saturday. If you're big into things like HARP, the Hadron Collider, me and Sean were having this discussion earlier. This is some crazy shit. All right. So, a series of minor tremors recorded on the Danish Baltic island of Bornholm Saturday has puzzled scientists who now say they were caused by acoustic pressure waves from an unknown source. In other words, they were caused by sounds and they have no idea where they came from. It's kind of crazy. Hail Terminus Est. How are you today, sir? Hope all is well. In case you missed it, Terminus, rewind a little bit and go check out the fat nastiness. You'll get a kick out of that one. I know you will. The first tremors were thought to have been caused by earthquakes. Then seismologists theorized that they originated from controlled explosions in Poland, 90 miles to the south. On Monday, the Geological Survey of Denmark, an official body that blah, 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 said the tremors were not caused by earthquakes, but by pressure waves from an event in the atmosphere. However, they came from an unknown source. How I wish Wes Moody was here for this conversation.
So we're told an unknown source. Keep
Yeah.
that in mind as well. This is mainstream news. So
Yes, this is ABC News, so they're obviously probably lying about quite a bit. So, seismologists can report that it is unlikely that the tremors originate from a controlled explosion in Poland, which was carried out shortly before the first reports of tremors in Bornholm. Excuse me.
those would have to be some serious controlled explosions because one of the old towns I was living in, they were doing some construction work, and for it seemed like a couple of months they were doing controlled explosions. They were building tunnels. There was like multiple explosions a day, and those things are allowed. Like they were using TNT.
Yep.
And there were no tremors. There was no seismic activity that was reported, and that was, you know, within the general area
Yeah.
of Scandinavia. So I find it a little difficult to believe that it would have been controlled underground explosions, especially in Poland as well. I mean,
Right.
You
And
know.
one of the things you can use as an example for that is the underground nuclear testing they did in Alaska.
Hmm.
They set off, I don't remember how big the bomb was, but they set off a nuclear explosion underneath it, and it raised the surrounding area of like the surrounding like 2 miles by
Hmm.
25 feet
Yep.
in elevation. And that was a nuclear explosion.
Yep.
They did not report any seismic activity anywhere in the coastal regions or Canada at the time or anything like that. So they would have to 90 miles for seismic activity would have to be a hella big explosion. We're
Mm.
talking like new grade of like salted nukes or
Mm.
fucking hydrogen explosives. It's, insane.
I just can't imagine that happening in Poland. And Poland is a relatively small country. It's a
Mm-hmm.
relatively poor country as well. They're not known for really testing things like nuclear weapons or
Right.
experimental weapons. Let's just say that, because it would have to be something like that
Yep.
to affect an area that far away, and on such a scale as well, because that is a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that doesn't really happen in nature. Not like that. Which you could go down some rabbit holes here. You mentioned harp, and there are other such. We got to keep in mind there was a time about 10, 15 years ago where you even mentioned harp and you were considered a
Psychotic
crackpot. Yeah, a
conspiracy
nut.
theorist.
Yeah. But thankfully, there were those of us that kept pushing and pushing and digging up evidence and finding declassified information. Thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, that so at least back then that still worked to some degree, even though a
Yeah.
lot of the documents are blacked out, or a lot of a lot of sections of those documents are blacked out. But there was enough there to prove there was a facility up in Alaska called HARP. I know it's an acronym for something, and I've got it written down somewhere, but it escapes me right now. But it's the
Yeah.
same pattern of like, oh, there's no facility at Groom Lake, Nevada, at Area 51 on the map. That's how it gets his name, because it's at
Mm-hmm.
Area 51. And it was the same exact thing. You're a crack, you're a nut, you were discriminated, you were attacked, your life was threatened if you brought that up. But then the same exact plan, the government comes out, yes, there is a facility there, but it's no longer
Yeah.
exactly the same as
We
it's no longer,
shut
we
it
shut it
down.
down. And then
Yeah.
people went out and they managed to get some shots, and it's all lit up, and it's all, they're
Mm-hmm.
building new hangars and shit like that. And it's the exact same thing with HARP. That thing is still functional up in Alaska. They may have dialed it back a little bit because they built new such ground-based weather satellites, if you want to call them that. It's probably
Right.
not the right word, but they're these huge facilities with like radars and antennas, and they take up huge plots. You got ones in Australia, the States. You've even got one in the UK. You got a couple in Europe. Those have only popped up relatively recently. So, of course, it was a lot more difficult to cover up than when you've got them popping up. So, what did they say? Um, First, it was, yep, they shut down HARP, no longer doing that stuff. I think they even said it was dangerous. But then they changed it like 8 years later because, that's the whole thing now. Now that the whole COVID thing's been pushed aside, at least for the time being, now it's the environment, the weather, the climate's changing, the whole climate change thing. And you can go as far back as the 60s and find footage of Lyndon Baines Johnson, that a wonderful character of a politician. I don't want to get political here, but I have to quote him. He said, and this is a direct quote,
Mm-hmm.
"He who controls the weather controls the world." Now, why do
Not
I bring
wrong.
that up? It shows that they've had an interest in weather manipulation. You can find World War II planes. I think even I think they may have even started just before World War II with those old biplanes where they were trying to do cloud seeding. And their whole excuse then was to disrupt the enemy. If you could cause a storm over enemy encampments like airfields and whatnot, well, they'd be easy to conquer. And you can find images, you can find old footage from like I said, World War II. This is something Hitler had a great interest in, and that's not just attacking the Axis powers. The U.S. and the U.K.
Oh yeah.
also had a huge interest in it, and they were experimenting over southern England. during that area between World War II and at least the late 1950s, and you can find that on record. Now that's what 60, 70 years ago, and we can only speculate what they've got now. Now we know they've got ground-based facilities. There's a whole ton of satellites up there floating around that we don't have the full specs for. They keep it secret, for national security, blah, blah, blah. Again, you've got people like Elon Musk trying to send his satellites up there just under the excuse of faster internet. Sure, maybe. But my point is, they are very much interested in controlling the weather. Again, really quickly, and people still kind of shake their heads at this, and I can only request that they look into it. A lot's been declassified and has been admitted to be true, and that's they call them chemtrails. Now, it's very different to contrails. You can do a lot of studies on this, and you can find evidence that compared to the skies 20, 30 years ago that were very clear, you'd see maybe the occasional contrail, which die off. Even in super cold weather, they die off after, like that in the sky. It was very easy to notice. But now you look around the world, and the skies are plastered and crisscross. Almost they don't go away. They just end up forming like a cloud-like white haze substance. And you can go out and look at this yourself. That has been proven not to be the behavior of contrails. Now, again, just like HARP, just like Area 51, and even UFOs, because that's a whole thing. We could do another show on that, which they're coming out and saying, oh, they're real, and now we have to find out their motives. Oh, guess what? They're a threat. Blah, blah, blah. Well, chemtrails. They came out, the government, yep, what you see is chemtrails. We are doing cloud seeding. And you've got people like, what's his name? The old CEO of Microsoft. Bill Gates. He came out and said, yeah, I'm funding that. Because he's been quoted, I want to block out the sun completely.
Yeah, Bill Gates is a fucking psycho, bro.
He's a psychopath, period. But they came out and admitted about a couple of years ago, maybe a little more than that. Yeah, we're doing that, but it's for the benefit of mankind. Well, if it was truly for the benefit of mankind, why deny it for that long? Why? And they've even they've told us what this stuff is. It's ionized aluminum. It's supposed to block out the sun to fight global warming, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get through as quickly as possible. You can look that whole thing up as well.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to man-made global warming, it isn't actually the CO2 that we're pumping out. It's actually to do with weather manipulation. That's, if you want to call them the elites, as they're commonly known now, and they get off on it. That's for whatever reason. I still don't know the reason why they're doing it, because if they fuck up the environment for us, the idea is they fuck it up for themselves as well. So why are they doing it? So you kind of have to speculate a little bit, put two and two together. Maybe it's to make it so you can no longer grow crops naturally, so you have to eat genetically modified crap, and then you kill off all the livestock, and you have to eat 3D printed lab grown meats.
Yummy.
And, they get all the good stuff for themselves, and they're psychopaths. I don't think they really care about good natural weather. They don't feel good like we do about that stuff. So yep, they came out and admitted it. Cloud seeding is a thing. You can do studies with, if you end up seeing these cloud seeding chemtrails during the winter and it snows, you can take a magnet out to the snow, and the snow is magnetized, and you get these weird little black, almost basically metals coming out the snow.
Right.
Because it's like the magnet pulls it all together, so it's actually visible to the human eye. But yeah, the way they're doing it now, and it's the same old story. It's for the benefit of mankind, and I can only say, be skeptical, question it.
Absolutely.
They've been bullshitting us multiple times. It's not just switching from one story to the final story. They changed the story multiple times. So it wouldn't surprise me if they change it again.
Right. So Goose says that the seismic tremors were measured at a magnitude of 2.3. Bush McFadden's theory is that it was Darren's fault because they originated from a YMCA where Darren fell down. Indeed.
Yeah,
Stuck in
because
that
you
shower
see what
chasing those
happens
little
then.
girls.
When he falls down, it creates an after effect that goes through to the other side of the world, which would
It's a
happen
butterfly
in
effect.
Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So makes
I
perfect sense. Why
absolutely.
not? Let's blame it on him so we can get him in prison. Then we can
Yeah.
investigate the corrupt judge and maybe get him brought up on charges too.
Absolutely. I think we should totally do that. So the next story that we have, oh my gosh, is a Dick's Division, totally a Dick's Division story. It's not YAPC level content, but so there's this lady. A rare condition causes woman's boobs to grow 6 cup sizes in 14 months. Now, let's think about that. 6 cup sizes in 14 months. And you might think, oh, she went from like an A cup to a D cup or an E cup, right? No. A woman living with a rare condition has been left with O cup size boobs. O cup. All right.
Boy.
Yeah. Pamelia J., who has chosen not to share her real name, shocker, has gigantomastia, a condition causing excessive and rapid growth of the breast tissue, with only 300 known cases in the world, by the way. So she is 27 years old from Melbourne, Australia. Somebody tell Lethal Lightning, because he's going to love the shit out of this chick. Just saying. Was diagnosed in March and has seen her breasts grow from a J cup to an O cup since that time.
I would like to know before I start throwing out speculation here.
Yeah.
Bow, bow. Yeah. I would like to know when the first reported case of this rare disease was reported. Because if it's relatively a new disease, well,
Let's find out, shall we?
yeah, let's.
Gigantomastia.
Because I will say lately, let's just say over the past 10, 20 years, a lot of weird new diseases have been cropping up in the human, what do you call it, in the human
yeah,
condition, genome, whatever. And yeah, one can only speculate if it's to do with technology or vaccines or who knows what. But if it's not, we also have to keep in mind that there have been rare diseases with humanity for a long time. We are very imperfect, and everyone's different. There can be an imbalance there from birth or something, but it would, yeah, require investigation.
apparently, I'm just gonna bring this over here. The first case was actually a gestational gigantomastia, or GG, which occurs during pregnancy, and it was originally reported and observed in 1648.
Well,
Roughly 1 in 100,000 people get this. Boosh says, "What's your boon size? Hold up, milk truck just arrived."
If she was pregnant, then it would have like
it would make a
female
little more
body.
sense.
Yeah, breasts grow. Yeah, the body goes through quite a change over a short amount of time. So yeah, that'll make a little sense.
So, to put this in actual terms, her breasts are 139 centimeters across. I don't know what that translates to inches, but that's fucking huge. It caused me back pain, shoulder pain, and just pain all over, she said.
Well, just to give you an idea, dude, there's
Milk
100
mommy for
centimeters in a meter, and
right.
roughly that's
Damn, son.
Yeah,
Like, there's some 4-foot boobies.
that's almost 1.5 meter right there.
Driving straight through Mammary Lane. That's right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the NSFW portion. Like,
Oh,
damn, yo, that's
wow.
freakish. All right. I know some people are going to be like, damn, that's a hot bitch. But I'm like, damn,
There is such a thing as too large, my man.
There
There
is. In
such
my
a thing as
opinion,
too
any more
large.
than a handful is too much, in my personal opinion.
Agreed.
Right. So she rapidly she didn't even notice she had this disease, already having J-size boobs, didn't realize she had this disease until she started rapidly outgrowing her bras. It's like, okay, well, she shopped for the same people that make bras for the fucking Statue of Liberty at this point. I mean, look at this bitch.
They got to be custom made, seriously. At least the dresses and whatnot. I'm sure they got, they got bras for super obese people, sure. But man, yeah,
And
I
of course, she's got an OnlyFans, if you guys want to go check that out.
Of course she does.
She's making more than 250,000 pounds in the last year because of this fucking disease. And of course, Terminus S says, would smash. Of course you would. Of course you would. Because you're Terminus S. And why not? Somebody's got to smash that shit. She's on an OnlyFans, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys lining up for that shit.
Oh, I'm sure she's got that covered.
And she's now looking at breast reduction surgery to ease the pressure her chest is causing on her back.
No, for
To
sure.
put this into perspective, this disease is only diagnosed when there's an excess growth of 5 pounds or more of mammary tissue. All right. Imagine carrying, all right, those things have got to weigh at least like 30 to 40 pounds each. All right. You want to talk about something that's going to fuck your back up. I mean,
even for that disease, that sounds abnormally large. I mean, let's just put the pregnancy subject to rest, because that's not going to do that. I mean, yeah, this could be something new. I don't know, but well, I hope she's prepared for the consequences. Her OnlyFans might take a little bit of a hit. There's a lot of weird fetishes out there, so.
Right. And she says, overall, I'm glad this happened to me because I've been able to open people's eyes to gigantomastia. Yeah, I'm sure you're making a lot of people wish they had that. I mean, awareness for the gigantomastia. That's the newest push, is awareness for the giant boobs.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was crazy when I found out that Alan Richson had the disease where he just had to do push-ups and it was like bench pressing 500 pounds. But now this lady, she's like, I wake up in the morning and I need to go buy a new bra. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping to save up another year to buy a house in cash. Cry to me in your fucking rivers of money. I mean, fuck you. You deserve the back problems you have. Get the mastectomy or whatever the fuck you're going to get to reduce them. And then they'll grow back, and then you'll just have giant stretch mark scars all over your nasty ass fucking boobs. It's too much.
I'm sure there's fetishes for that too. So, oh man.
Again, it's a good thing she doesn't have any tattoos on those giant fucking mommy milkers, because damn, those things would be just fucking stretched out and ugly as shit.
Oh boy.
God. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm a very vain person. I'm a very shallow person. This bitch is not thick. She's not it. She's fat. I don't fucking care. This bitch is fat. Nasty. She's not morbidly obese, but damn, lose some fucking weight, bitch. Po Baby 74 needs a schlong version of that disease. I'm sure it exists, and I got to tell you, that would suck, bro.
Yeah, I got to, like I said, I'll just quote what I said before. There is such a thing as too big, and
that applies to cocks as well, boys.
How about having literally an extra leg? Yeah, I'm good. Tripod? Nah, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Over on the Rumble side, we have Galaxy Red Hale. He says, I like big boobs, but that's comical. I agree. Terminus est. Drew has the schlong version of that. Hashtag beware the Drew. That's right. Watch out for that shit. We need something to take down those spy satellites and stuff. So, go get Drew a lap dance or something. Gosh. Not when I prop up at work. Kickstand. Yeah. Could you imagine trying to support 100+ pounds on your cock, bro? I'm just gonna throw that out there. You really sure you could kickstand your whole body weight on that? Because unless you're a midget that weighs like 74 pounds soaking wet, that's probably gonna fuck your shit up. I'm just saying, like, the kickstand thing is a comical joke. It's hilarious. But then when you think about it, you'll wind up with a penile fracture. Do we need to recover that story? It's possible you can break your penis.
That
It's
size, you could
happened.
probably get multiple fractures.
Yeah, and then that leads me to a warning. Don't ever try the Air Jordan, guys. All right? If you don't know what that is, I will explain. So the Air Jordan is where the lady spreads herself open for you to, to enter, and you jump off, and you try to land in a hole, Air Jordan style, right?
Oh,
But
man.
then, you pogo stick, so you miss, and it goes boink, and then it breaks your dick. And he says that he doesn't want to be hard at work. This is true. Then, I mean, because if your dick's that big that you can tripod yourself, could you imagine trying to conceal that boner? Yeah, your whole leg's just like,
I'm sure there'll be a lot of dildo companies out there that will just be begging to make casts of your dick. So
Right,
I'm sure there'll be a money opportunity there, and I'm sure a lot of women would like to use those on
yeah,
OnlyFans.
they
So
removed the
win-win,
dick vein
huh?
from Snickers, but they can't remove the dick vein from the Yeti arm. Like,
It's the future, I tell you.
you see why I fucking love this show? We talk about some crazy shit, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't nobody else talking about this. Huh? Sure, Lethal Lightning might pick up the giant boob story here or there eventually. He might even have her on his show. But it came to you first on Toxalot Entertainment. That's right. It came first on Toxalot Entertainment. Yeah. Boosh McFadden, Wee Man. Irma freaking good. I can't breathe. For those of you who didn't understand that, it's oh my freaking God, I can't breathe. That's Wee Man cosplaying George Floyd. Jeez. Some crazy shit. So we've got like mysterious sound-based earthquakes in the middle of some place that doesn't even get earthquakes. Like, when's the last time you heard about Denmark having an earthquake? Exactly.
It's pretty rare in Scandinavia in general, man. It does happen. It has been known to happen. I remember one when I was over in Norway. It was a pretty sizable one, but it was only recently, like over the past 10 years, that it started kind of happening. Otherwise, it was unheard of. So, and yeah, it's something I forgot to mention when it comes to these. There was a phenomenon that started happening between 2010 and 2015, 16, where people around the world and in Scandinavia, they were hearing these weird noises.
I saw the videos of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
where it had the loud, almost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say trumpet-like because that's too biblical to like pop things out with. But
Sure, not to
I
put
don't know
any
what else
kind
to
of spin
call
on
it.
it, we can at least say it wasn't no animal or anything. And this was worldwide. This was
Yeah, it was insane.
States, Scandinavia, people going out into the forest or just going out into the city and hearing these weird. You just know it, when
Yep.
we can all tell when we hear sirens in the background or a foghorn or even an air raid siren.
Yeah, it's a
But
very
this,
well-known sound.
yeah, and this absolutely wasn't that. And I remember researching that, and even to this day, no one's been able to say what that was.
Right.
Now, at the same time, which was very interesting, it was almost coinciding perfectly. There was underground tremors going on around the world as well, in places it shouldn't have been going on.
Yeah.
I can only ask when it comes to those tremors in Denmark is asking people on the ground, did they hear any weird noises over the past month or
Well,
so?
actually, with the reports, it did come with people stating that there were actually atmospheric pressure changes in their ears. So it might not have been an audible noise, but there was probably some sound waves going around. Hail Mass Grave, glad you could make it. If you want to rewind a little bit and watch about the lady with the miraculously growing boobs, go check that out. I will say though, I wish she would have known about this disease earlier so she could like take side shots and just watch them like, because that would have been hilarious.
Before and after, yeah, why not?
Like take one every day just so we can track the growth of your gross ass mammary glands.
Hey, she might have done it.
We'll
Like after she started noticing like a huge change, she might have actually started doing that and posted it on her
She might
OnlyFans.
have,
So,
right? Yeah.
right, subscribing.
Surprise, surprise. The bitch with the growing boobs has an OnlyFans,
No?
and she wants to buy a house
Oh.
in cash, I'm not shaming anybody who subscribes to OnlyFans, but I got to say, there's got to be better uses for your money. You can get all the free porn on the internet that you want. Stop paying thoughts. Stop paying thoughts. It's not worth it. They just hose and you ain't going to get shit. Look at that motherfucker that gave Delphine a fucking $70,000 car and she referred to him as one of my subscribers. I mean, come on. Quit fucking wasting your money. Only cans. That's right. Only cans. Yes. Like, come on, guys.
That's true, dude.
Instead of throwing your money at OnlyFans, go buy yourself a subscription to Comics Division or some shit. I don't have that stuff set up. I don't have memberships on my shit yet because guess what? We're not monetized. That's why we talk about things like the fact that, the government is super corrupt. And then we talk about crazy growing boobs because I can't be demonetized. Are they going to take my channel down? Are they? No. They're just going to be like, we're not going to put you on the recommended page. And it's like, well, guess what? You don't anyway. So fuck you. Fuck you, YouTube. Anyway, I like Rumble a lot more than YouTube as far as interface and user friendliness.
Agreed.
From the creator side.
I really do hope more people make that transition over to Rumble. I know I've said this to you before, dude. I might as well say this on air as well. YouTube deserves to go the way of the dodo at this point. It's done nothing to earn our respect or usage anymore. It's a platform for censorship. It puts big companies in front of people with actual talent, and I would absolutely agree, keep using it if there wasn't any decent alternatives out there, because it's all we got, but there are much better alternatives out there.
We are starting to see some really good competition.
Yep, and they deserve our subscribership, our patronage, if you will. So
they do indeed.
Look into Rumble, look into BitChute, look into Odyssey. As much as I may not like the latter two as much as I do Rumble, it's still a hell of a lot more worthwhile than YouTube. I know it's kind of what you're used to, and it's still the most popular, if you will. But if you want to see change, be the change, as cliche as that may sound.
Right. So over on the Rumble side, Galaxy Red says, I never pay for porn. There's literally no point. If I want to talk to a girl, I go talk to a girl. Problem is current climate makes that dangerous. So I just don't bother. I don't blame you, bro.
I hear that.
I don't blame you a bit. What they've done to the intricacies of wooing has fucked up everything. It's not surprising the birth rates are dropping like fucking flies. It's done. But
think about this as well, what it does psychologically, not just to the people that subscribe to OnlyFans members, but also to the people that are opening an OnlyFans account and using it as their source of business. It gives them a bit of a power trip, so it feeds narcissism and egos. And I know I'm generalizing, and I'm not trying to discriminate anyone that's trying to make a business or anything like that. There can be an argument made that it's harmless, sure, but it does. My point is, when you go out and attempt to talk to these people that are making tons of money off of OnlyFans, they end up feeling special and they end up feeling privileged. Like, you kind of have to pay to talk to them,
Well,
and it makes
yeah,
that whole
the
wooing
biggest
process
yeah,
almost
the
not.
biggest problem that I have with things
Mhm.
like OnlyFans, and you can hit me with like, whatever bullshit justification you need to attack this point of view, but OnlyFans and things like that are literally simply designed to destroy the foundation of relationships. And I'm not just talking traditional relationships between a man and a woman or anything like that. I'm talking all relationships. Okay. Because let's just look at some basic functioning of porn, shall we? Every person that views porn, well, most of the people that view porn feel they need to hide it. Okay. That should be a clear indication that it's not healthy for you because you have to hide it in the first place. Now, some people could pop off with, like, well, they did that with drugs. And if you destigmatize drugs, then it gets better. It's not that way with behavioral things like sex, it's an automatic reaction. And eventually you need more and more and more and more, just like drugs, but it fucks you over because then you start getting ideas in your head that that's how things are going to work. I know that's old and cliched, but it does set unrealistic standards for a sexual relationship. It does. Sometimes you just got to bust the nut to feel better. Okie dokie. But
Mhm.
when you start doing that on a regular basis, it fucks with all your hormones, it fucks with your neurotransmitters, it fucks with everything you could possibly do. And you wind up with more depression. You wind up with fucking like, you can wind up with substance abuse disorders. You wind up alone and isolated, wanking into a sock for 19 hours a fucking day. It's just ridiculous. But on a better note, let's go look at what Boosh just posted in the lunch for lunch in the Gilded. Yeah. Just pop this over here. And by the way, hail to Ruben Christopher Haynes for joining the Gilded.
And
Oh,
can I
you
just
and your
add
pizza,
to?
Boosh.
Oh, sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead, dude. I didn't mean to
I just
interrupt
want
you.
to take a quick look at this. Man,
Mm,
that looks good, bro.
that could kill for some
Are
pizza.
you filming me? Yeah, well, shh. You're
We're
not even supposed
filming
to know about those
your
cameras,
babies.
Boosh. You're not even supposed to know about those cameras, bro. Don't advertise it publicly. Gosh. Uh you wind up with ED, Cory, and you can because it causes circulation issues in your junk.
But
You
also
know,
remember, it was difficult enough. The process of socializing between, I'm approaching this from a straight perspective,
yeah,
as I am a hetero.
absolutely.
Uh, it used to be, and we're old enough to remember this, dude.
Mhm.
Because we remember a time when the internet wasn't really that much of a popular thing, when you would actually have to go out and socialize with
Right,
female, or if you're a female with a male, whatever.
right.
And that's how relationships are formed. We are social creatures. That is, as much as it can hurt sometimes, and I know it's very complex, relationships, they are a very complex thing, but we are social creatures, and it's something we need, to have at least a basic healthy lifestyle. Um, Once you go down this hole, and I'm approaching this for someone, like, I have watched porn. I'm not judging anyone here. I get how difficult it is when when it can lead to anxiety, because again, it's only become worse as narcissism has grown. Going out, and very few people go out and socialize anymore. I found this quite difficult myself, going and interacting with certain people because they're
Mhm.
hooked on social media, which I'm not. And that's not to say I'm better than anyone. My point with that is I don't quite have that, um, s- degradation, if you will, because that's what I
Right,
class it as. And they don't quite know how to communicate. They need social media to do that, and social
right.
media has evolved or devolved, whichever way you want to put it, and it leads to a situation where you'll no longer have people socializing with one another in person. Relationships will no longer be a thing in the sense of couples,
Yeah. And
and
that's
it'll
the
just,
goal.
yeah, and that leads to not only narcissism, but it leads to, it can lead to a basic form of psychopathy. It can lead to nihilism.
It can lead to a lot of bad fucking things.
Yeah, so there's that aspect too. It's just, there's a reason they push porn. And again, I'm not judging anyone, it's kind of sometimes it's being stuck in between a rock and a hard place because uh, we are, once you reach that age, we are sexually active creatures, as it is in the animal kingdom.
Right.
We need to procreate.
We
uh,
do.
it's something, it feels good, there's even spirit, you could go down a spiritual hole with that
Right.
thing. And I think there's something to that as well, and all that is being lost, and it's being
Mhm.
tainted, it's being yeah, it's being mutilated, call it what you will, and we kind of do need to get back to a more face-to-face social interaction with one
We do.
another.
We
And
do.
I know, Corey, both me and you, we kind of isolate ourselves sometimes. So this isn't judging in any way. It's just emphasizing what it can lead to, and it's not healthy.
Yeah, indeed. Massgrave brings up another great point here. He says the more extreme the porn, the more it changes your brain chemistry to want harder and harder porn. And this is because of the age-old tolerance that builds up. And what in with behavioral tolerance, it has to do with the amount of stimulation that you're getting out of something. When you have a behavioral stimulant and you use it too often, it becomes less effective, just like a drug. So you need to increase the input or change the input to fit your new mental patterns. The harder and harder porn thing is pretty much the whole reason we have things like smut films. We have things like murder porn, etc., etc. It's because people have that drive to get that dopamine however they can, and unfortunately for human beings, sex and violence cross over a lot when it comes to stimulation. So you'll go from like watching normal, like, blase fucking missionary porn to watching like uh bondage, midget bondage. Like it escalates in strange ways for everyone, but it's in my opinion, it's not good for you. It's much better to go, like, hell, go find a fucking hooker. If you want to spend money on a bitch and at least get something out of it, go get a fucking hooker. All right. Don't fucking waste your time on some internet bitch that you can't touch. You can't have fun with. Fuck that. All right. Like, cause you can't fuck that. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Bush McFadden says, I'm listening like a radio, prepping for dinner, not staring at a screen. That's good. He says, ever heard of nugget porn? Do not Google that. No, I haven't.
No,
And
I
thank
haven't
God I
either.
haven't,
No.
because I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know
Okay,
at this
no.
point. Like, no, thank you.
Just to
I'm
close off
just,
that topic, dude. I mean, the world's kind of built for it right now as well. Because when you get depressed, when you're lonely,
yep.
you talk about substance abuse, and you kind of have to approach it that, like you said, in that fashion, because it is the very same things happen. When you're depressed, you want to feel good. You want just to break that depression, and sometimes that leads you to doing drugs, or porn is one of those things, and it ends up making it worse. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's why, me personally, I kind of try and stress to people is we need to change things for the better so that things
Yep.
like this don't get worse. And when it gets worse, I mean, you look at some of the stories you cover on this show, Corey, every week. I mean, it's just going to get even more freaky and freaky to the point it all just implodes at some point,
Yeah.
because
It's,
it can't go on like this. It just
yeah.
can't. By the way nature is, a system like this will eventually destroy itself. Let's not get to that point, I say.
Right. Bush says he thinks he heard about nugget porn from Cecil, and that does not surprise me. Anyone who knows Cecil knows that's not surprising. Massgrave also follows up with, well, I will say growing up with easily accessible porn from like 13 and there not being any studies on excessive porn watching was really terrible for millennials. Yes, it was. I wonder if my entire generation is screwed. Fortunately, Massgrave, I will say no to the entire generation being screwed. We do have some challenges to overcome. We, me and Sean are both millennials, unfortunately to admit. But when you break down how it actually goes. Like, a lot of us are going to wind up finding semi-normal relationships. I don't think we can go back to normal relationships just for the fact that it's current era, and that's not how things work. But it is, I think that there's some hope for our generation, as long as we can deprogram some more people. We need to keep deprogramming them from the ridiculous shit that's going on right now. Keep calling out the fallacies, keep calling out all the random non-incongruent bullshit or the incongruent bullshit that they have going on. Just keep calling it out, keep checking it. Have conversations with your friends and your family. The hard
Even if you
conversations,
just reach one person with it, just do it. It helps. It really does.
It does. And the thing is, talk about it. I know there's this huge stigma about, like, oh, if I talk about it, everybody will hate me. You have a friend somewhere in your life, and if you don't, I apologize that you don't, but you have somebody in your life, at least you should, that you can go to and talk to about these kinds of things. And if you don't, then start reaching out
Sometimes
to
you have
other
to go out
people.
there and find it, and
Yeah,
admit it's not easy. It's not easy, but you
it's
have to
not
do
easy.
it.
Yeah, you have to take the chance, because people today are too risk aversive to where they will not take a chance on anything, and that is fucking buzzword retarded. It literally holds people back when you decide that that's not something you need to do, or that's something you can't do because of your life circumstances. There's always someone to talk to, even if you have to go call one of those hotlines. They have hotlines for everything. They have it for smoking cessation, all the way to porn addiction, suicide, you name it. They have a hotline for it. And I guarantee you there's one in your area that's free. So if you don't have anyone to talk to in person about this kind of stuff, then call them. Something. It is manageable. Just talk about it. Talking about it actually helps a lot more than shutting the fuck up and trying to deal with it internally. I'll tell you from experience, that just fucks you up, and you don't want to do it.
It does.
Bush McFadden brings up a very important point about the millennial generation. It's a lack of being screwed, and I'll expand on that even further and say it's an expectation of being fucked by the time you're a teenager. Pretty much every teenager expects to get laid before they hit like 15 these days. It's fucking ridiculous. Massgrave says it's pretty easy when you're informed about the topic and talk to people. From my experience, I talk to boomers about stuff like this. Well, and see, that's the thing, is sometimes you have to reach outside your generational gap.
Yep.
You have to, because I know very few millennials who are educated enough to help with these types of problems. Hail One Man Show, he says, clearly we don't always live in the same world. This was true. Sometimes support structures aren't there and stuff. I will issue the advice of, if you do need someone to talk to, just try reaching out, either to hotlines or people in this community can also be great. There's certain people you don't want to reach out to because they're fucking lunatics and they're self-centered cocksuckers. But
for sure. And that's speaking from experience as well. You do take a risk, and I will say it isn't easy, especially this. We have the whole thing is built against us these days. We haven't seen anything like this. The previous generations didn't have it this way. This is something new. It's the Everest. I call it the Everest of all challenges that we have. Now, a lot of people will see that and give up, and I empathize in some level. We already have it difficult enough on our day-to-day lives. There's challenges there we have to deal with outside of this stuff. But at the same time, we do kind of have a responsibility, not just to others, but to ourselves. I know that's easier said than done, but if we don't, well, at best, you're unintentionally contributing to the downfall. And, at worst, you got no room to complain, in my opinion, because you're not really doing anything to help it out or help yourself out. And I know it sucks. I know it really does suck, because I do know the challenges that we all face on a day-to-day basis, and I do know just how bad it can get. But that's what I mean. You have to pull yourself out of it somehow. And right now we have the internet. We have all these means of quote unquote socializing. And it's a start if you can at least connect with someone, you know, through the internet. If you're half a world away, for example, it's good for that. And then you transition over to a face-to-face conversations. It can work. It's how you use it. And
Yep.
unfortunately, we live in a time now where people, I have to be careful how I say this. I was going to say I've gotten lazy. I think that's true to a certain extent, but you have to take into account social anxiety,
Yeah.
fear of being judged, because that hasn't gone away. That's been built up.
Those stigma have been reinforced, if
Oh,
anything,
big
over the
time.
last few
Yeah.
years.
So
For
again, just to
sure.
emphasize that challenge, but there are, thankfully, there are still people out there, as few as it may seem. I know a lot of us were surrounded by, that could really affect your mental health when you just go out there and you see people that almost just seem like NPCs,
Yeah.
or people that are just, well, screwed up. Their priorities are all out of whack, and that could really demoralize you. But you got to try. You have to try.
For sure.
We can't let them win uncontested.
I agree 100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're at an hour and 11 minutes. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it there. Sean, do you have anything going on in the near future?
I have to stress the maybe. I might be in a situation where I'll be able to get back to my shows. Also, a possible short film might enter principal photography this summer, maybe. We'll see. So I'm hopefully going to have more content coming out because I've hit a bit of a dry spell over the past 6 months because I've had some issues to deal with that have tested me and tried my patience. I'm going to keep that to myself for the time being. Although the motivation has still been there to release some content. So I will be getting back, hopefully, to escaping the matrix within the next couple of weeks. And I'm really going to try have at least one show out per week. I'm hoping to maybe have two eventually. Other than that, you can check out the content I have already. I've got my short movie, Poker Night, a dark comedy that you can view at the moment on YouTube. I'm hopefully going to have that up on Rumble. I am of the perspective that I'm going to be dropping YouTube eventually and just transitioning over to Rumble for the time being. So that's on Megastar Productions. That's my film production company. We recently got we had a film festival reach out to us without me, kind of came out of the blue. That's still going on. I was at the mindset that film festivals will be over by now for Poker Night, but it's still going on. So check it out. Give it a watch. Feel free to dislike, like. It's up to you.
Hell
But
yeah.
also check out Escaping the Matrix. That deals more in philosophy and I don't want to say politics because I am kind of anti-politics, but hopefully you get the idea, and just trying to contribute in making the world a better place. Again, as cheesy and as cliche as it sounds, and kind of doing my part there.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Other than that, thanks for having me on the show today, dude. It's
Hell
been
yeah. We need more people willing to make the world a better place. I'm here to point out all the screwed up, weird shit that happens in the world, and you guys are here to laugh at it. And that's how I'm contributing to making the world a better place.
every
But
little bit helps, believe me.
there are a lot of people out there who have incredible ability to affect change, and I hope that they continue to do so. Comics division and those guys in the Dix division, us in the Dix division, are always moved by how many people actually come out and say that we've made a difference, and they love the fact that we're talking about the things that we talk about, and that we are actually bringing a little bit of light to the world through some crazy fucking times. But on that note, I will be on Yelling at Park Cars tonight on Comics Division's channel, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Pacific, etc., etc. You know the time and place. Just be there. And then, of course, Tuesday, I am going to be tomorrow. Okay. I'll be releasing another waxing. We're going to be talking about freedom this time. And then Thursday, I will be doing another mental dysentery.
Sweet.
And then Saturday, I have a one-on-one interview, Rumble exclusive, with the Dix Division man himself, Comics Division. Anyone who's seen my past interviews with people know that it's not going to be a normal interview. It is not I don't have set topics. I don't have talking points. I like to fucking let it roll. And Comics Division is a man with like a plethora of knowledge and stuff that we're going to try to squeeze out of him like a sponge. And it's going to be fantastic. We'll see how that actually goes. But yeah, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay sexy. Don't get murdered, because then you can't watch the show. And, of course, then you wouldn't be alive, and that would suck. And as always, have a wonderful time.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.